Okay, this is the second half of lesson 1 in module 2. Okay, we started out with marker boards yesterday. We're going to continue with marker boards, but I want to point out one thing before we begin. If you look at example 1 breaks down the model by dividing the 1/2. When they divide this 1/2 into sixths, they're showing it to you, breaking this up vertically. I'm not crazy about breaking up the half vertically. I would prefer that you do everything horizontally, because sometimes vertically will work and sometimes it doesn't. Horizontally works every single time. I'm going to start with number 2, and the first thing I'm going to ask you guys to do on your marker boards is to model 1/3. Do that now. Hold it up when you're done. I'm going to hit pause. Many of you shaded fine. The only suggestion I'm going to make to you is when you shade it, just give it a little squiggly line. And the reason why is because when you further divide this, if you shade too much, you're not going to be able to see the subdivisions. The lines will be covered by shading. So just give it a little squiggly, plus it preserves the markers as well. Okay? This 1/3, this model is now showing 1/3. You've shaded 1. This is the numerator out of 3 total pieces. Now what I want you to do is I want you to take this 1/3 that you've shaded and break this up and divide it by how much? Divide by how much? Divide that by 3. Do that and hold it up. This 1/3 right here has to be broken up equally into 3 pieces. This is why I would suggest for you to do it horizontally. Good. I'm going to do it in a different color because I can. You took this first piece and we broke this up into 3 equal pieces. Now what's interesting is some of you have already known that you need to extend the lines to find a total answer. We learned this yesterday. So if you did not extend your lines all the way through, do that right now, because we're going to need to do that anyway. And if you're still not quite sure why you did that, then don't extend it yet. And you'll see why eventually you do need to extend it. Next thing we're going to do, look at the original fraction and look at the numerator. What number is that, everybody? 4. The numerator of the fraction is going to indicate to us that we're going to circle one piece that you've subdivided. One piece. That's all you're doing, is that one piece. Again, that is coming from the numerator of that fraction. And here comes the important question. That one piece represents what part of the whole? 1 out of the whole. Kira. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The answer is 1/9. The hang up today has been here. This is where kids are getting stuck. So I'm going to try to show this to you again. When you circled this piece right here, guys, when we circled this piece, we circled what fraction of this first column? 1 out of how many in this column? Seals. Yeah. Okay. We took 1/3, and I'm going to put that there, 1/3 of, what was my fraction of the shaded portion? The shaded portion is showing what fraction? The initial shading that you did was showing what fraction? Kev? We took, this is 1/3 of 1/3. 1/3 1/3 out of these 3 pieces out of 3 pieces. 1/3 of 1/3 is 1/9. That's in the hang up today. We're going to do one more just to be sure. I'll make note of that now. Once this is set up, technically what you've done is you've changed division into what's called the multiplication of the reciprocal. You took the 3 and you turned it upside down and made it 1/3. And then when you do that, 1 times 1 is 1, and 3 times 3 is 9. That's kind of what Common Core is trying to get you to see, is that division is the same thing as multiplying by what's called a fractions reciprocal. And it's going to, throughout the rest of the lessons, we're going to kind of revisit that and kind of drive that point home. Let's do number 2, or in this case, number 3. I want you to model 1/5. You have to erase your boards and model 1/5, and then we'll come back to the blog. All right, ready, guys? Here we go. Here's your 1/5, which many of you did, right? Break that up by how much? Breaking that up into fourths, because we're taking 1/5 and dividing that 4 times. Many of you will already know, extend your lines all the way through. You're going to need it. Hold it up when you're done. Okay, good job. I'm going to do the same here, guys. Your lines are not a lot neater than mine. Okay. All set, right? I'm going to look at my numerator. How many pieces am I going to circle? How many pieces? 1. My numerator is going to tell me to circle 1. Circle it. And then my most important question, the piece that I've circled is what fraction of the entire whole amount? Matthew. You got it. That is our answer as to the question 1/5 divided by 4. Let's go to the area that you guys are having trouble with. This one piece right here. Guys, this one piece represents 1 out of how many in the column? How many? 1/4. Of, we shaded how many pieces out of how many pieces? Jules? We shaded how many pieces out of how many pieces? 1 out of. Originally, when we shaded, what did you originally shade? 1 out of how many? 1 out of 5. 1/4 of 1/5 is 1/20. Okay, you guys, listen up. This is what you're going to do. If you want to continue doing it on marker boards with your partner, you can. However, you're going to need to transfer your answers onto the next page. Or you could continue to work with your partner and just put the marker boards away and do it right onto the sheet. Okay? Either way, listen, don't move yet. Either way, listen, guys. I need to see 4 and 5 before you start your exit ticket. Your exit ticket is due by the end of the period. Okay? And then you can start your problem set. Guys,